Hello, I'm Dr. Edward, the Healing Vet, and this week I'm doing something new when it comes to my videos for the week. We're actually going through my whole newsletter live here. So this is the video newsletter for Dr. Ed, the Healing Vet, where I'm going to talk about what me and my pets are up to. I'm going to talk about some of my cases that I've been seeing. I'll have some inspiration around self-care and looking after yourself and nourishing your life, and I'll talk a little bit about my music and a few other things. So the theme for this week is presence and empathy. But before we dig into that, and before I tell you what I'm getting up to, I've got a little bit of a kind of a news flash before anything else. We're going to be launching Whole Energy Body Balance for puppies next week. I'll be sharing with you my journey with Gem, our now 4-month-old lovely little whippet dog. And I'm going to be sharing my whole journey of bringing her home, caring for her, teaching her all the things she needs to learn to be a good member of the family. I'll be teaching you the fun things, the frustrating things, like peeing on our bed last week, and a whole lot of other things. But next week you'll have an opportunity to join that. This is just a little warning that that's coming up. So one thing that I'm noticing is, and being an intuitive integrative vet, which is something a bit different than just about most vets on the planet, I'm very aware of the kinds of energies that move us and the cycles and patterns of energy that move us. What I'm noticing is that since the 4th, when the solar Chinese New Year, the year of the wood dragon, started rolling in, there's been a real shift in the kind of quality of energy and momentum of things. Suddenly everything in my life seems to have got a little bit easier, which is kind of lovely. So the 10th is the Lunar New Year, which is coming up in just a few days. And I am pretty confident that that will then, after the 10th, if you have had any kinds of sticky bits in your life, it's highly likely that they will unstick. So I'm here at Taradale. We've been at Taradale for about 10 or 12 weeks now. And I find it really interesting that my new horses are going to be coming here and arriving here, which I'm incredibly excited about, because it's been more than 20 years since I've had horses in my life. In fact, I'm almost feeling a little teary. I'm so happy about this. But it's interesting that my horses are an older mare, a brood mare who's retired, who's going to be the companion horse to Medallion, who's the gelding, who is 6-year-old gelding, who's going to be sharing my life for probably decades, are arriving on the 11th and the 12th, which is just after the Chinese year rolls in. And you might notice that things are going to start happening after that time. So here at Taradale, we had our first really hot, stinky, fire danger kind of day here on the weekend, 37 degrees, windy. There was a fire about 20 k's away, which was thankfully controlled really quickly. And it wasn't extreme and awful weather, but it really got us motivated to set up and prepare all our dog and cat carry cages and make sure that we've got water and camping and equipment and all those things available, just in case we do hit really severe fire conditions and we have to evacuate, because we have to really think about that for our animals. Now, before I go on with the rest of the newsletter, I just want to remind you all that there are a couple of important things that are going on here at Whole Energy Body Balance Global Headquarters, the Healing Vet Global Headquarters. We've got Whole Energy Body Balance for horses. For Canada, enrollments are open until just for another week or two. So if you're interested in learning how to make a massive difference for horses with loving touch, therapeutic touch, intuitive empathic connection, energy healing, give me a yell. And also, we've got voting open for the topic of my next intensive online workshop, which is in our Heartbeat community. So horses, yes, we have 2 horses coming, because there's no way that you can have one horse on their own. That is very, very bad for their welfare, very unhealthy. So last week I thought, well, I need a second horse. How am I going to do this? So I put out a call out on the Facebook, Horses Free to Good Homes in Victoria, which is the state I live in Australia. And within minutes, we had about 10 responses. One of those responses happened to be with a standard bred trainer only 6 minutes drive away from where we live. She's 16 years old. She's retired from breeding. I went and visited her last Sunday and hopped in the yard with her, and she came right up to me and started making friends straight away. So Star is going to be come and join us to help look after Medallion, to be his. So we'll have a herd of horses, which is incredibly wonderful and exciting. We might have a third horse joining us yet. I'll tell you more about that next week. In other news, here in our garden, the weeds are probably taken over the world and about head high on me. So, I think I'm going to have to be getting out the whippersnipper and doing some serious weeding. And, Sunday was 37. Today, it's been quite cold. The themes, like I said, are presence and empathy, and these follow on really well from the themes that we spoke about last week, which are boundaries and safety. And again, one feeds the other. The more presence you have with yourself, the greater your capacity for empathic connection and bridging with your beautiful animals will be. Now, I'm going to talk about that just a little bit more later on in this video newsletter, but in my experience, there is no more powerful way to connect with your animals than through the practice of presence, which then leads naturally to empathic bridging, or you starting to experience your pet's consciousness in your being and in your body, which is something that happens to me very often as I work with animals these days. Speaking of my animals, every week we update you about what's going on with our herds, flocks, many animals. We've got Fred, who's our fluffy black and white cat. He's very happy. He's happy as a pig in mud, or rather a big fluffy cat in a dust bath. He drags himself in all dusty and, with leaf litter and twigs hanging off all the time. But the other morning he came in and sat on the bed beside me while we were waking up, purring away for the first time in ages, which tells me that he's happy. Pavati is our little black panther. She has so got our little Whippet's number. She loves the Whippet and she's snuggling up to her and head bumping her and things like that, but she's also very happy to give the Whippet a swift right hook if the Whippet is too much in her face. And the other lovely thing about Pavati is that if either me or my partner are away for a night or two, she spends the whole night on the bed with one who's remaining at home to keep us cozy and loved. Mitzi, our little fluffy guy, 13 and 14 years old, he is teaching our little Whippet so much about how to be a steady, sensible, lovely little dog, getting lots of cuddles as always. Jem, the Whippet puppy, is being a little bit of a rascal. She chewed up 2 pairs of prescription glasses last week and peed on our bed. So we're getting a bit more, shall we say, boundaries going on with that one. But at the same time, she's a superbly intelligent, sensitive, loving, awesome little dog. Medallion will be arriving on Monday, and Star, his female companion, is going to be arriving on our Sunday, which is going to make this weekend pretty busy and happy. So then in the next section of this video newsletter, what I like to talk about is a little bit of the healing vet, what I've been up to in my practice. Now, the best thing about my work is the transformations that I consistently see in the animals who come to me and are under my care. Especially people who come and see me regularly for hands-on work, body work, all that sort of thing. To see these dogs come in with greater happiness, playfulness, better behavior, reductions in anxiety, healing from chronic illness and all those sort of things is so beautiful to see. So last week, my first patient was a little dog who drove a couple of hours to come and see me, had been a patient of mine in Frankston. He had jumped off the couch and kind of landed awkwardly and was yelping randomly. So he had much reduced range of motion in his head and neck. I did some body work with him and he seemed to feel a lot better, but he's still unhappy. So there's a possibility that he might have popped a disc or something in his neck, and he's going to be going off to have some further investigation. Second one was an Aussie Shepherd who had anxiety, reactivity issues, which is something that is one of my favorite things to help dogs with. He had a fairly major fall, had never been the same since. He had a lot of soft tissue neck and back pain. Now, his mum thought something was wrong, but she didn't really know where it was or what it was. But he was a very, very painful puppy dog. So we did a lot of body work, not only helping him with his pain issues, but also helping him to learn to relax. relaxing touch is one of the key things that I teach just about everyone who brings their animals to me. And we also got him started on CBD because CBD is great for pain relief and helpful for anxiety too. Then I was out and about, did a couple of silent pain assessments. One was a younger dog, only 18 months old, and he had some moderate back pain. His mum was surprised about that, thought he was fine. And 2 older dogs with significant pain. I'm running at 100% of all the dogs that I've assessed out here around the Taradale area since I've been here that have had pain when I got my hands on them. The next day I had it anxious, overexcitable, in-your-face Frenchie. He too had really significant silent pain that his human did not know was there. And he had some issues around boundaries. He was a bit wanting to jump all over me. We had a conversation about that. And about 45 minutes into the session, this little guy lay down on his chest and he lay down on his side and he just stretched out and he pretty much went to sleep while I was giving him body work. His mum's eyes went like this. And like, I've never seen him that relaxed even at home. So he's going home with lots of relaxing body work from his mum and CBD as well. And the last one I saw last week was a poodle cross dog with severe intractable allergies, anxiety, and it's no surprise that I found significant neck, back, and soft tissue pain that his human didn't think was there. So we did body work and a whole lot of veterinary advice around the allergies, changing food, getting away from warming foods and CBD and all that. Just want to let you know that we do have some special things going on here that if you want to get involved, if you want to get engaged and you want to come and do things with us that make a beautiful difference for your pet's well-being and your well-being too, Web for Horses is happening in Canada in May 2024. It's happening here in Australia in March too, but that one is all sold out. And enrollments for the Web for Horses in Canada are going to be closing Friday, 23rd of February. We still have 7 or 8 seats left. I had a big realization last week that how I work with horses and what I worked out, what I call it. I know it's horsemanship, but what kind of horsemanship? I had to realize that what I do is empathic horsemanship. What I do and teach you with horses is empathic horsemanship. And Web for Horses teaches you how to feel and know how your horses are feeling in your body, in your emotions, in your heart, and in your soul. But you also learn how to feel into the body and discover where there is pain, tension, injury, trauma, all that sort of thing. And I can guarantee you that if you give me a problem horse, I'll show you that you have a painful horse and the problems are stemming from pain of some kind. So if you want to learn how to hear your horse's silent cries for help and be able to do a whole lot about that, please email me. You can drop into thehealingvet.com to contact me or find me on Facebook and message me. Like I said, you can vote on our next intensive online workshop, which we do fairly regularly, 2 hours where I dig into topics to really help you help your pets. And the third thing is that the Panic to Peace Summit, holistic approaches to easing anxiety in rescue dogs, are on at the moment. And again, you can pop in. I will pop a link to the newsletter that has the written newsletter, which is what I'm working with in a video form right here at the bottom of the posts on Facebook and YouTube so that you can pop in and join us if you want to. That's a free summit and it's all about holistic approaches to easing anxiety in rescue dogs. Now, I want to talk a little bit about nourishing your life. What can you do to make a difference for you? Because the more you nourish your life, the more your pets benefit. So I'm going to talk a little bit more deeply about presence and empathy at this point. So presence is the state of being present, which for me is being here, being now, giving all my attention to the here and now, but it's not on giving all my attention just to the place and me. It's giving all my attention to any of the beings who might be present with me, existing here and now at this time. Empathy is the action of understanding, being aware of, being sensitive to, and vicariously experiencing the feelings, thoughts, and experience of another. And if you go to the kind of deeper meaning of the word, it means feeling and to suffer together. Or as I experience it, literally, I will have my hands on an animal that I'm working with body work, and I will have a big rush of sadness and tears come up in me, which is not my sadness, it's the animal's sadness. So you simply can't experience empathy unless you are present and have presence. And you have to be present with yourself before you can really open up your natural empathic sensitivity and abilities. But when you do become present enough, you'll spontaneously begin to have this deeper communication and empathic bridging with your pets, where you'll literally experience what your animal is feeling and what they need. And sometimes it's a little bit uncomfortable. The key thing to doing this is simply to bring your awareness into and throughout your physical body. It's that simple. And then be present with whatever's going on in your body, and just not try to change or fix or make up stories about anything. Just keep on bringing all your awareness into your body and being present with everything that you're experiencing, relaxing into it. So we're nearly at the end. I'm also a musician and I perform as Tree Brother. That's Tree Brother, no gap. You can find us by searching Tree Brother on Spotify or any of the major streaming things. I do a little connection concert each week, and there'll be a link to that in the written newsletter. I'll be singing a couple of songs. One is Green Man, which is an exploration of masculine spirituality, and Just So, which is inspired by the deep love of my aunt and uncle and how they get on together. So that's this week's newsletter from me, Dr. Ed, the Healing Vet, and Tree Brother. If you open up your newsletter, if you open up the link to the actual written one, you'll also find a beautiful recipe from Sun, our community nurturer, of date and almond bliss balls. But for now, goodbye. Have a beautiful week. I'll see you back in this video newsletter next week. And please, until then, give your pets a pat from me, and have a beautiful week. Goodbye for now.